Alright, hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to take a look at my current progress of the RMS Olympic 3-1 scale. The last time I did this was just the exterior. I did that it's been like a year ago now, so a lot of things has changed, mainly inside, so very exciting. We are going to take a look at what's different, or rather what's been added. So just a quick pass through the exterior. I don't think much has really changed. Obviously it's only really some of the portholes and windows that have changed a bit, because I've had to rearrange some rooms perhaps slightly to work better, but other than that it should be fairly similar on the exterior. I may have added some more detailing over time as I noticed they were absent, but yeah. Shouldn't be too much here, but yeah. This is Olympic, of course, in 1911, as she would have appeared during her maiden voyage. And in the future I may do a Titanic conversion or a Olympic 1930s conversion. We'll see what happens, but it's gonna be a massive amount of time until we get to that, and indeed a massive undertaking, to be sure. But yes, let's get started here with the bridge. So this was actually completed during or in the last tour I showed us the outer bridge that was already done, and I don't think it's changed either since then. My I guess building philosophy has changed since last time, in that I have chosen to become, how should I say, hyper detailed, and I use the debug stick among other things to really manipulate the blocks to the extent that I can get as detailed as possible. I'm not sure if I did this last time, but I've added quartz walls, or retextured the diorite ones, and I've also added, we shall see here, custom tiles. So I've retextured blocks that I won't use, which I think really works out. I really like how my tiles turned out, so I hope you do too. So here is the wheelhouse, of course. I think I'll zoom out slightly so you can see better. 560 is usually pretty good. But yeah, here's the wheelhouse. It's bloody massive, at least compared to Titanic and Britannic. It stretches out to the sides, of course. While on Titanic there was kind of an overhang here, so, and the bridge front was flat, so it was much smaller. But yeah, this is of course where they steer the ship, mainly at sea, while they steered it from here out in port, generally. You have some lifeboat supply shelves on the back, and also a bunch of telephones. Let's go to this side first. We have, of course, we have the navigation room. This was the captain's short room, as far as I'm aware. It serves a similar function, I think, to the short room, but I'm not sure. Here is the captain's sitting room. Not much to say about that. It's a room and he's sitting in it, probably. And it is receiving guests, and has a little writing table and a bookshelf. Very nice. Here is his bedroom, and here is his bathroom. If we go out here to the corridor, notice the heaters on the bottom of the floor here. I try to incorporate such small things. Okay, so I've chosen to not have the doors open for every single cabin. So let's go to the other side. All the way forward. Okay, so here's the bridge again, but if you go here, we have the short room. This was for all officers and the crew. So these are supposed to be the master clocks here that would control all the other clocks on the ship. And this is the chronometer, which would help with astronomical navigation, which was calculated by the officers. Don't ask me how they work. They're there, so that's enough for me. If we go back, we have the pilot's cabin. He would sometimes board the ship. Well, like, he would board the ship, but then sometimes I think he would be like delayed, or like he would remain on the ship for a bit, so he would have his own cabin here to sleep. That's at least what I think it's the case, because the pilot of course only operated in like each port, so to steer the ship. Here is the chief officer, and of course all the officers' cabins looked much the same. I think the chief officer did have a slightly more fancier one, but I don't really know how. I think his furniture was slightly fancier. But yeah, they had a bed, of course, a writing table, a foldable wash basin, heater, and sofa and stuff, so very nice. And then the first officer is pretty much the exact same, although slightly less fancy as far as I understand it. And then the other officers' cabins are the same, but slightly smaller. Here is their lavatory. There is a little toilet, and then there is a bath here. I've tried to, on this build, include all of the piping, or not all of it, but a lot of it. And also the pipes and the ventilation. Just to add that extra touch to the build, that extra oomph. But yes, let's move further aft here. We have the Marconi room. Of course, in Titanic, this was moved like inwards, and later on Olympic even they moved it inwards. So this was a very short-lived configuration. It was changed in 1913, I believe. So yeah, that's on this side. We have the main operating room here, and then in here is the machine room, or the machinery room. Also fancy equipment here that I don't understand, and also here is the where they slept, the Marconi officers. Let's head out again to this side. We have the officer smoke room, where they smoked, as you can imagine by the word. And then here is a pantry to service the room. Oh yeah, here is the elevator gear for the first class elevators, which are below. They go from A deck to E deck. And on Britannic, of course, they would move this up, so the elevators also went up to boat deck here, which is pretty cool. This is some equipment that would power the oh, I forgot what they call, like pneumatic suction tube pipes, whatever. They would connect to the inquiry office to get like the telegrams that people wanted to send, the passengers. For a fee, you could send a Marconigram, which was pretty neat. But yeah, here are the elevator gear. They were encased in some covers, so you can't really see exactly all of it. Let's head further aft. We have some stewards in here. These guys would service the officers, as far as I know. So they truly had first-class service. And yeah, let's get to the exciting part. So this is the first-class grand staircase. Very recognizable. One of the most impressive rooms on the ship. So this is the boat deck level. You had this walkway. You can cross through both sides on Britannic. That was removed, of course. They put a organ, and you can only get from one side to the other by crossing the little mid ships or whatever staircase here. It could be accessed from the outsides by these two vestibules. You can walk out here and then on the other side as well, here. This also connected to the first class gymnasium. This was, if I am to be honest, rather a pitifully equipped room, at least during introduction. They had these rowing machines, or not rowing machines, but electric horses, or electric camels, I can't remember what they were called. You had these rowing machines, a weighing chair, and a height measuring thing, and this might have been the electric camel. Then I guess this would have been like an electric, the vibrating. There's a lot of weird stuff here, but they all have a lot to do with like vibrating and stuff. And these were like abdomen rubbing machines. They're so weird. But later they would move this weighing chair, and they would add 2 bicycle racing machines, and also rowing machines on the floor, like not the super fancy pulley weights machines here, but like actual rowing machines on the floor. And Britannic and Titanic would get even more stuff over time. So yeah, let's not go down to A deck. Let's do this deck by deck. So we are out here on the boat deck. Let's head further aft. I haven't completed like all of boat deck yet. There's some machinery spaces or like crew spaces left, like the tank rooms and stuff. But yeah, aft here, this is the 3rd funnel deck house. Here is the officers' mess. This is where they ate while they only smoked in their smoke room, of course. So yeah, that's pretty nice. They have a pantry adjoining it with a little hoist or elevator that would go down into the galleys. So we'll get to that later, or we won't. I haven't built the galley yet, but so the first class promenade went up to that fence around the lifeboats. The passengers could go up to this deck, up to the compass platform. They couldn't go up here, but yeah, they could go around, and they could go all the way back here around. So they kind of had like a wraparound promenade. In here was the engineers promenade. It didn't connect on both sides. On Titanic I believe it did, but here it did not. On Titanic, of course, and later Olympic, they would add a engineers what's it called, smoke room, but Olympic didn't have that originally. And right now there are 2 massive tank rooms on each side. These have not been added yet though, so I will add them later. And in the middle here, of course, is the reciprocating engine room. That hasn't been added yet either, so it's just a massive chasm of death right now. Let's head further aft. There isn't anything inside of this, the 4 funnel deck house yet. There are supposed to be like a staircase leading down into the galleys here. And there are some tank rooms, there are some ventilation rooms, or fan rooms I mean. And some like, yeah, store rooms and stuff. Notice here, this little pipe. This is the smoking room exhaust pipe. On Titanic, this was redirected to go into the 4th funnel, and then there would be like a flue going up all the way to the top, so that the smoke would actually go up through the 4th funnel. To finally give it some purpose as an actual funnel. Actually, there was already an exhaust vent for the galleys and the engine rooms, but that's beside the point. But yeah, on Olympic, this went up here, and I guess that White Star decided that that wasn't actually that good, so they, like, for the passengers, it would like, yeah, would interfere with the passengers, so that, yeah, they would redirect it on Titanic, and on Britannic, yeah, that's a different story. I'll talk about that later. Yeah, this is the 2nd class area. They could go up to this point, to this barrier, and it's very large amount of deck space for them on the boat deck, which was very nice. So they had their forward staircase here with a elevator, the elevator gear back here. They had it nicer than first class. Their elevator actually went up to both decks, so that's very interesting. So that's here. And this staircase led down to F deck. So we will show that later. But yeah, let's head back to the front and let's go down to A deck. I always like to do my tours deck by deck. It's easier that way to keep track of everything. This is the first class like main promenade. And this wrapped around all the way. They had some really good promenading possibilities. That's a cool phrase. All the way aft here, to the aft of A deck, to the stern, and it wrapped around on the other side as well. Very, very nice in terms of promenading space. In the front here are two elevators, staircases that led up and down. The passengers couldn't walk up, they weren't allowed, this was only for the crew. But they could walk down to B deck. And there was another promenade here, we'll get to that later. Let's head further aft. There's a bunch of deck chairs littering the deck here, as you can see. These were numbered. And if you were quick, you could book a really good spot on the ship, so you could have your own reserved deck chair. And you could sit, relax, and have some pretty good deck views. Or I guess you wouldn't have that good, because the bulwark would be too high. I don't know. Maybe if you try and lean up a bit, I don't know. Maybe you could. Okay, let's head inside here. We get to the A deck landing of the grand staircase here. So yeah, this was a pretty large landing. Owing to Olympic size, this was very much larger than pretty much all ships at the time. Even larger than Lusitania and Mauritania's staircase landings. On the back here are the elevators. And they are nicely parked here on this deck, on A deck. Look like this, roughly. They were decorated in the, what was it, like the Empire style, I believe. While the staircases themselves were decorated in, I always forget, the William and Mary style, I want to say. While the dome was decorated in the Adam style, I believe. And it was nice English oak, beautifully carved all over it. Here, I'm getting very hoarse in my throat right now, but here is the first class, quite simple staterooms forward. They had a little stewardess cabin here to service them. Or there are two stewardesses actually. Let's head all the way forward. Here's A4, cabin number A4. Quite big, a little bit larger than the other ones. Yeah, this is very nice still for being a quote-unquote standard cabin. Or I mean, it was a standard cabin, but it's very nice for a standard cabin. And this one as well. This is A2, I want to say. Yes, A2. Was also a bit larger. Had some very nice views over the forecastle decks, so I imagine this would have been quite expensive. And this one as well, in here. These are almost suite sized, except without the private bathrooms, so that's the difference. In here is one of the many private, or not private, public lavatories for the passengers to, yeah, do whatever they need to do. Some urinals here as well. And then we have an open, yeah, here is an open, a public bathroom again. They had a heater in them, which is certainly a choice. But yeah, they were green. They had hot and cold. I believe they would only have salt water, so that's not very nice. there was another bath here as well, and I believe this is a pantry to service the passengers if they wanted some tea and stuff. Light refreshments, they could get it. There was also an indicator panel here where the passengers could ring a bell in their cabins. I'll actually show that real quick. They would ring... Oh my god, I haven't added the bells here yet. Or maybe these are the bells, I can't remember. I think they were. They would ring these either way. And the steward would be like stationed here. So they would see like, oh, this one is lit up, so I will go here and ask, hello, ma'am or sir, what can I get for you? And then they would, yeah, get some stuff from here. You also have I believe there was a service closet here, yeah, service room, where they would like have, I guess like brooms and service equipment, because this was like a floating hotel, so like the hotel section of the ship, there was stuff in here for that, cleaning equipment and stuff. And let me just show you real quick here the smaller standard cabins. These were very small. These were typically meant for just one passenger. I don't think you could actually have a second one on the sofa. I think this was just for a single passenger. These became quite popular around Titanic's time, so they offered quite a few of these. But yeah, they offered all the same amenities as all the other cabins in first class, except for the private bathroom. And that is pretty much it, yeah, for this little section. I should mention that this forward, the lavatories of course were separated by sex. So this was for the gentlemen. Then further forward we have for the ladies. And that was also the case for the bathrooms here. So the ladies are in the front, the gentlemen are in the or the other way around. The ladies are in the back, the gentlemen are in the front. Okay, so I wanted to mention a cool detail or cool difference between Titanic and Olympic. Olympic had these white like deck indicator signs. This says A deck, of course. Titanic had brass deck signs hoisted on the actual wall under the clocks. This was changed between the ships, so Titanic lost these hanging signs. I believe Olympic got the brass signs later as well. I could be wrong though, but she probably did. And here is like a little notice board where they would post like information, mainly like the daily run, how long the ship had traveled each day. Let's head back through this very lovely corridor. There's a bit of a debate right now if these were painted white, because one of the passengers, I believe his name was Ramon something, he noted that there were white corridors. Now he could of course mean the B deck, C deck and all the lower corridors, which were probably painted white, but yeah, the question is, were these ones painted white as well? Right now I have them as unpainted oak, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I might change them. In here is the first class reading and writing room, kind of like a ladies retreat space, the like Olympic class equivalent to the ladies rooms on other ships like the Lusitania and Mauretania. But yeah, this was a very lovely space. It was said to be kind of not deserted, but it was underused for sure, because you had the lounge in here adjacent to it, so people didn't really use this that much. And also I think many like felt that they didn't want to disturb people in here, because this was very much like a quiet retreat space where they would read and write, as the name would imply. Yeah, it was beautifully decorated. I believe this was in the Georgian style, and yeah, it's very beautiful. They had the raised roof here, raised ceiling, so you could have light from the boat deck streaming down to create a very bright room. On Titanic, of course, this section, the forward section of the promenade, was enclosed, which meant that at least on the A deck, it wasn't as like bright, so most of the light came from the boat deck. On Britannic and later on Olympic, this little alcove section was removed, and it was instead replaced with some cabins. So this entire section here was filled in. This door was moved to the side, and yeah, this entire section here was changed to have cabins. They were quite nice. They had private bathrooms, and they generally housed White Star Line officials. So yeah, pretty interesting. And it's sad because this was a very cozy little alcove here. But yeah, that was removed, and yeah, room was very changed. And also I should mention that there was a fireplace here, but this was actually like fake. It was an electric fireplace. Unlike, or like most fireplaces on the ship, the only like functional fireplace is in a smoke room, which we'll get to in a bit. Here is the lounge, which was like the main social hall on the ship. The passengers could socialize, they could play games, they could hang out, they could have some light refreshments. Very nice. This was decorated in the Louis XVI style, I wanna say. I always forget this. But it was in one of the Louis styles, so yeah, just keep that in mind. You had a large bookcase here. It also housed some newspapers and games for the passengers to enjoy. On the other side, we have a large fireplace and a mantle around it with a big mirror, and a statue here. This is Diana of Versailles. I tried to replicate her best as I could. Diana of Versailles, goddess of the hunt, a Greek god. That's all I know about it. This was, or like Titanic's equivalent, was found very recently by RMS Titanic Incorporated and members of Titanic Honor and Glory, which was very exciting. So this still exists today. We can only hope that they recover it eventually to preserve it. On this side here is a post box so the passengers could post mail. And yeah, there's tons of settees, sofas, chairs, and some writing tables across the room. There's also like alcoves, like these divisions. And this room was very similar to Adriatic and Oceanic's libraries or lounges, so it's very nice. It's an upscale version of a room that came before. There was also this little dome in the middle with a very nice like electrolier is the word, I think. It's not a chandelier, it's an electrolier because it's electric. On previous ships you would have had a skylight. By the time of Olympic, skylights had kind of fallen out of fashion, so the only real skylights you actually had were for the two grand staircases. There's one here and there's also one here in the stern. So yeah, it's either dome or nothing. On this side you have a little bar connected to a pantry. This would service both the outside decks, but also the lounge here. So yeah. Here's an interesting one, a unique feature to Olympic, but something that was actually removed like very early on, I think in like 1913 or 1912, is her dark room. I haven't lit this up for obvious reasons, but this is where they would have developed photographs. This was for passenger use, not use when you drink. So yeah, this was, you could imagine for like a fee, you could have like a steward in here develop the photographs, and yeah, you would have hang them to dry here basically. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention earlier, there are these two staircases here on the sides leading up to the boat deck. So they go to the first class funnel deck house here. Let's head back inside. You have the very large pantry here, lots of mugs, glasses. You have the hoist here again. I haven't actually like done the uptakes for the funnels here yet, so those will come later. But yeah, this went all the way down into the galley, which we'll also get to later when I build it. There's a bunch of like a silver press. You have some sinks. What are they called? Water boilers to make tea and coffee. You had an actual range here to cook some stuff, and a bunch of dressings and stuff. There's also this call bell illuminating panel for the stewards to check if any passengers in these spaces needed help. If we go out on the other side, we have another corridor. Going aft here, on Britannic they added an elevator like here, so they made the pantries a little bit smaller. So an extra elevator was added to complement the ones in the front, or in the bow, in the forward section. You can see this interesting thing here. This is an expansion joint that went all the way through the ship here, allow the ship's hull to flex a bit in heavy seas. Let's head back inside. Oh, there's also one more expansion joint forward. There's one there, going through the officers' quarters. Yeah, let's head further back. Here is the aft grand staircase. It is very similar in style to the forward one, except that it was actually a little bit smaller, and the dome here was circular instead of rectangular, which one the forward one was. This was quite a big room on Titanic and later Olympic, and of course Britannic. They added cabins on the sides here, which had private baths, which was very nice. Let's move aft again to the smoke room. So it's a very large space. It once again extended up to the boat deck a bit, so it could have light streaming down. This was decorated in the, oh, what was it? What is the Regency style? I forget. But it's this very dark paneling, probably mahogany, with mother of pearl inlays. This kind of very rich, kind of crystal white detailing, which was very beautiful. It had this interesting kind of stained glass panel in the middle of the room. This allowed light to stream down from the deck above, because you had these windows here. They led down to here, and they allowed some light to pass through. There is also a fireplace here again in the aft end of the room. This was the only functional fireplace on the ship, so this was actually real. And this connected up again here to this flue that I mentioned before. Britannic's room was quite different. They removed this alcove, or not alcove, but like corridor, I suppose. And they added an accumulator room, what's it called? Like a battery room, to keep the ship powered if the main engines or like electric engines lost power. That's what I think it was, at least. Here's a little cigar showcase, and here is also a revolving door leading into the cafes, the veranda cafes, and palm courts, as they were also known, because they were courts full of palms. This was where you also could have some light refreshments if you needed, but you couldn't actually have a heavier meal. So no cal, you could not have lamb here, sadly. This room was serviced by a little pantry bar thing, which also serviced the smoke room. I haven't actually built this yet, but yeah. And yeah, this was a near identical room on the other side. This room was used as a makeshift children's playroom apparently, because that room was never included on Olympic or Titanic. It was included on Britannic though. While on the other side you could actually smoke. Smoking was allowed, while this side was not. So this was kind of underused in comparison to this one. Here is the little fan room. I haven't actually finished this yet. It's kind of incomplete so far. And then the sides had these lockers for the smoke room and stuff. And deck games as well. And yeah, that's the end of A deck. So let's go forward again. Oh yeah, we also had the deck cranes here to hoist food down into the food stores, all the way down in the bottom of the ship. Let's go forward to B deck, to the B deck promenade. So this did wrap around, but not for first class passengers. It ended here, in like after the ship around the fourth funnel. It ended, and then after here the second class passengers instead had a little promenade, and this wrapped around through this weird corridor here to the other side. Then it was the same case on the other side as well, all the way to front. On both A deck and B deck you could actually hoist portable screens to prevent kind of like a wind tunnel from forming when the ship was out at sea. So yeah, both decks could have that. Let's head inside through this door. You get to the B deck landing of the forward first class grand staircase. That's quite a mouthful. Further aft we have some more cabins here. We have the elevators, and these were similar to the deck above, except that they were of the Bibby cabin design, as it was known. So you had this cabin here, looks very similar to the ones above, except that they had a little corridor leading like out here. I don't know why the ones on A deck didn't have that configuration, but yeah, whatever. And then you had a smaller cabin on the inside, like this. The idea was to have this cheeky feature here to have both cabins technically be outer cabins, to provide light and air, and to raise the prices of them a bit as well. Oh yeah, I know why the ones on A deck weren't like that. They actually had these skid lights from both deck above. They had this little skid lights, skylights, whatever, that allowed not air, but light down. There's also this one here that allowed it directly from above. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a similar layout, at least, to what was above, so I won't go through it again, but we have a lavatory, baths, pantry, service locker again, so I won't go through them in detail again. Let's head further aft to some actually interesting cabins. These were the suites. Here is suite B39. This is a sitting room. This was decorated in the Adam style. You know, this is my personal favorite suite style on the ship. It had a fake fireplace, an electric fireplace actually. And then here is an Italian Renaissance suite. The actual bedrooms here. Here is a little walk-in closet, and there is also a private bathroom, private bath, private toilet. Here is a French-style cabin, while the other cabins were contracted out to other companies to like decorate and furnish. These ones were actually furnished by Harlan and Wolff themselves, who of course built the ships. This was the bedroom A style, or the French style. This, well, it was decorated in the Louis XV style, I want to say. And that was the case with this one as here as well. We have another private bathroom, and then here is a modern Dutch cabin. These were contracted out to be built by, what were they called, Messers and Soons or something, another company. I believe they were a Dutch company, but I could be wrong. Which would make sense given that there were Dutch cabins. Here's a different style. This is the old Dutch cabin, one of two on the ship. They had a canopy bed here too. And here is another modern Dutch cabin. They were a little bit different. The ceiling was different and the beds were different. These ones forward were out of brass, I think, while these ones were out of wood. I don't know which one, probably like oak or something. They had these weird settees here, kind of sofa bed type things. But yeah, we have another lavatory, and here is one of the many. This is the most prominent suite style on the ship. This was the Holland Wolf's own bedroom B style, or the modern style. With this very basic white panel walls with an oak dado on the floor, or on the bottom. This had similar furnishings to the other standard cabins on the ship, so these were kind of basic in layout, but they were apparently quite popular, so who am I to judge? They were 3 here in a row. Then this one I haven't actually done. I don't know which one this is. It might be Georgian or one of the Louis styles. I forget which one. And here's another what's it called? Modern style cabins here, and that's the case here as well. And this one hasn't been furnished yet either. I don't know which one this is. And here is a French and modern cabin. Here is the aft ground staircase again. This landing, it went out on either side. Well, let's go through to the other side. Let's go through the other side. Modern French style again. These were kind of mirrored. Here is B64. This is in the Louis XV style, so it would have been similar in decor to the Holland Wolf's own French style cabins, except the difference was that these were actually painted grey instead. The other ones weren't. So this is a little bit too dark of a grey. It's supposed to be kind of like a super light whitish grey. That was the real color, but I don't really have any blocks to do that color, so I went with this instead. Here's another modern cabin. Let's have further forward. Another modern cabin, surprise surprise. Haven't done this one. Modern. Here is the Queen. No, sorry, this is one of the variations of the Empire styles. It was decorated in like unpainted oak, I wanna say, or something. Can't remember though exactly. It had a crimson paneling, or like sycamore, not sycamore, a crimson silk damask paneling. Very nice though, and it also had a canopy bed. This is the Queen Anne suite with these kind of gold sycamore panels, and here is the Louis XVI, one of several Louis XVI styles board. Also has this golden paneling here, and here we have 2 French style cabins. Oh, I haven't even done these, so this would be Louis XVI sitting room and an Empire bedroom here. Haven't done those yet though. Let's head further aft to the grand staircase here again. Further aft we have some more cabins as well. Have I done these? I haven't, not yet. Here's a cashier's office and a wine room. You might be wondering, what did these service? Well, they service the a la carte restaurant, which I haven't done yet, nor have I done the galley adjoining it. So yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. Further aft, we have the second class entrance. This is again their forward staircase that led up to boat deck. Went through A deck here, and then it went up to boat deck here. Let's go down again to the staircase on B deck again. This connected to the second class smoke room, which is my personal favorite room on the ship, because it's a very beautiful room, and then it just has these super weird linoleum tiles. I don't know why, but yeah, they had weird tastes, that's for sure. The Edwardians. On the side here is a lavatory. After the men had too much to drink, they would go in there. And on the other side we have a bar that would service the room. Further aft here, we can have this corridor leading out, and the first class or second class aft staircase. This didn't have an elevator, but it did go all the way down to F deck as well. And then yeah, this is C deck, so let's not go through that yet. So that's B deck done, except of course the forecastle deck and the poop deck were of course technically part of B deck, but I've gone through them already in my previous tour video. You can check that out. Let's go down to C deck. So yeah, all the way forward here, in the like under the forecastle deck, is the windlass gear. This is where they would have operated the capstans that would like the docking equipment and stuff. There were some crew cabins on the sides. I haven't actually like furnished most of these spaces here yet, so that will come later. We have things, this is mainly like crew areas. Here's a hatch, by the way. This is number 1 hatch leading down into the bottom. You have some mess rooms, so this is like the engineer's mess. No, not engineers, fireman's mess, yeah. Fireman's mess, greaser's mess, seaman's mess, fireman's entrance, crew's galley, and yeah, a bunch of spaces here for the crew. There's a hospital here on both sides for the crew. Further aft is the, what's it called? The well deck, with 2 more hatches here and 2 cranes. Further aft, if we go inside again, here is the first class cabins, the forward cabins on C deck. These were a little bit fancier than normal because they actually had a private bathroom. So you had this kind of large cabin here with a bibby cabin, like encompassing it out here on the side. Then you had a similarly sized cabin here with a private bathroom here. So you would have, this would be like a setup, like a suite with like parties of, with a party of people to travel along. Then there are a lot of these small inside cabins here. I don't know if these could be set up to be more than 1 passenger, but they were, yeah, smaller cabins at least. Lavatories on the sides here, or the insides, and then here is a pantry, service locker or closet, and then here is a telephone exchange room where they would have like, yeah, I don't know the words, but it's telephone exchange for all the telephones on the ship. Here is the purser where his cabin was. Was this the, yeah, okay, I was on Titanic that the second purser was there. Here is the first class forward staircase here again, the landing. And here is the enquiry office where the passengers would take their inquiries and questions if they had any. This is where they would have posted their Marconigrams if they wanted to send any. And in here is the party's office where they could direct questions to him. On the other side is the cloak room, where the passengers would hang up their cloaks, as you would imagine. This was very underused, so they would remove this in 1912 even, very quickly after introduction, and replace it with cabins basically. So yeah, in here is more suites. You have these standard cabins in the middle, and then here are a bunch of the suites. So I haven't done most of these yet, so those will come later. French cabins, a bunch of unfinished ones here. Just fly through them real quick. Yeah, not much to see there yet, so I'm just gonna skip over that because there's not much to say. We are in the stern again, here, on sea deck. Here is an enclosed promenade for second class. This was also the entrance into the forward staircase. Here is the library, or the lounge, for the second class passengers. You had a large bookshelf here to read, and just hang out, socialize, play games and stuff. Write a bit as well. Here again is the aft staircase with the very interesting feature of the aft, or the main mast, going through the room like this, and you would have a door behind it for some reason. They could have put the doors here, would have been so much easier. It would have been like synergized with the staircase. You could walk like this, but no, Holland Wolf were weird. They put it behind the mast. I don't know why. Here's a post box for the second class passengers. There was also a piano here for the band to perform. So this room would kind of be like a makeshift ballroom for the passengers to dance. For the aft, we have the aft well deck, 2 more hatches, 2 more cranes, and we also get to the first third class areas. So this is the third class main stairwell leading down. They had a post box here, and yeah, this led down to F deck as well. No, G deck even, I think. So quite low down. Here is the third class general room, or their lounge basically, where they could socialize, hang out, play games, have a party basically. They would add a piano here later that wasn't here originally. On the other side was the smoke room. There was also a bar that would service this room. Interestingly, it didn't actually connect into this room. That was only added later. It was very weird, but yeah. Whatever. Let's go all the way forward. Now we won't go deck by deck, we'll just go room by room because it's very unfinished from this point onwards. Yeah. Basically just looks like this. Here, this is on D deck. This is the open space for third class. This was also kind of like a lounge space, but it was also like a promenading space, enclosed promenade for the third class passengers to use. It was accessed through these 2 doors on the other side here in the forward well deck. So that this went down here. They had 3 staircases leading down further to cabins on the decks below. But yeah, that's pretty much that. They had this illuminating panel here as well. This was like information about the ship and the White Star Line, like routes in the world, I believe. Further forward, we are supposed to have some cabins for first class passengers, but those aren't built yet, so let's head down one deck further. This is the forward third class entrance. You have these boarding doors here on the sides. I haven't actually built this room yet though. Here is the third class and crew very long companionway. It was lovingly nicknamed Scotland Road, because that's apparently a street that many crew came from. I don't know if that where that ship was located, if it was actually in Scotland or if it was in Southampton, where many of the crew came from. I don't want to say too much, but yeah. It connected the bow to the stern basically. It ran like 2/3 of the ship. It's very, very long. And it was kind of like a design flaw because it didn't have any watertight doors through most of its length. It's only here that they added one around the engine rooms. I struggle with the word engine. It's hard. I haven't actually furnished these rooms yet though, except for these ones. So this is how standard crew accommodations looked. Very simple, very Spartan, very unprivate, to say the least. So not very nice. There's also the higher tier of crew quarters. This was for the chief baker and assistant chef. So this was quite nice. And this was the chef in here. Okay. And here of course is Susan. We love her. She's here. It's very nice. Are you gonna say hello? Me too. Yeah, here you are. Hello. He's so cute. Yeah, that's pretty much all with Scotland Road. Let's head further aft. I don't think there's anything below. Nope, there's not. A bunch of spaces here I haven't built yet. Then we end up here on the stern again. The main third class staircase leads down here to D deck. Third class section O, this is called. Third class cabins weren't numbered, or they were numbered but not the same way as first and second class. They were divided up into sections, and this one will be cabin 127, this is 129, so this would be O127, O129, or like section O, cabin 129, I guess. These were the only 2 bathrooms on the ship for third class. People didn't bathe as much these days though, so it wasn't really needed. They also had this lavatory here. This was for the men, the other one was for the women, and they would only wash off themselves a bit here. That was typically all that was needed for most people these days. Here it's supposed to be a surgery and a... yeah, the surgery wasn't here basically. And let me show you how the cabins looked. They looked like this, pretty much. Had these beds here. And in the stern they actually had a private wash basin, which was pretty nice, very luxurious. They didn't have that in the stern though. For the men, because the women were located in the stern. And the families, while the men were located in the bow to have some separation between the sexes. Then here is the weirdest cabin on the ship, because we of course in the stern with the strange bowl shape, or the bowl shape of the stern. So yeah, this cabin, I'm gonna zoom out a bit more so you can see it, looked like this. It's very strangely shaped. Like the actual cabin was taking up very small portion of the cabin, while this space was pretty much just dead space. You couldn't actually put stuff up here, so they just kept it open like this. And that is pretty much that. If you go up one deck, like behind the smoke room and general rooms, you get to the steering gear compartment. I haven't done this yet though, but this will connect with the rudder to steer the ship. So yeah, that, my friends, is pretty much that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will talk to you later. That is all I've done on Olympic so far. So if you want to see me progress along on the ship, follow my streams, and I stream every other day usually. And yeah, you can see me progress along on this shift. So until in the next video or stream, have a good one, and I will see you then. Take care, bye bye.